Hi everybody, welcome to my channel. Today what we are going to discuss is on NEBOSH International Environmental Diploma or NEBOSH National Diploma as a topic on carbon cycle. So it's a hot topic in these days because the carbon is a source of important source for global warming and climate change. So where is carbon coming from? Carbon is coming from fossil fuels. So what are those fossil fuels? Example, coal, oil, wood, gas, petroleum is all contain carbon. When this carbon burns in the presence of excess oxygen, it releases carbon dioxide. If it is burned in reduced oxygen, the result is carbon monoxide. In general term, carbon dioxide, that is CO2, is removed from the atmosphere by photosynthesis in plants and released in the natural process of respiration and decay. Okay, this process of removal and release within the system should be roughly in balance. Why? Because the atmospheric level of carbon dioxide are increasing together with other gases such as methane, nitrogen dioxide and chlorofluorocarbons. Okay, so that together contribute towards greenhouse gases and climate change and climate impacts in the earth. So it is very important we should know the carbon cycle. So gaseous carbon dioxide, this is the beginning of the carbon cycle. You should write gaseous carbon dioxide in the atmosphere is converted into organic compounds by the process of photosynthesis in plants. Okay, this carbon is then stored in the biomass of the plants. So the plant body stores this carbon, okay, during their life. So herbivorous obtains, so this herbivorous means the animals which eats plants obtain organic carbon compounds when they eat the plants. Okay, so when the carnivorous, the animals which eats animals, obtain organic carbon by eating herbivorous. So the carnivorous, when they eat herbivorous, it gets organic carbon. When the plant or animal die, the dead organic matter is consumed by decomposers organisms like bacteria and all these kind of microorganisms in the soil. It decays the decomposes the organic carbon in the plant body, which then turn carbon dioxide into the atmosphere. So when you write this answer for the natural carbon cycle, we need to step by step answer the question. So the first question, the first answer will be like the heading will be carbon moves from the atmosphere to plants. This is the first process. In the atmosphere, carbon is attached to oxygen in a gas called carbon dioxide, that is carbon dioxide, CO2. So in the atmosphere, carbon is always attached with the oxygen. Through the process of photosynthesis, this carbon is pulled from the air to produce food made from carbon for plant growth. So the next step you need to write as this carbon moves from the plants to animals. In the first step, we got carbon moved from the atmosphere to the plants. This is the first part of the cycle. So in the second part, carbon moves from plants to animals. So when through food chains, the carbon that is already in the plant moves to the animals when they eat them. When the animals eat the plants, it moves from the plants to animals. These animals that eat other animals get the carbon from their food too. So the next step is carbon moves from plants and animals to soils. First we discuss carbon moved from the atmosphere to the plants, okay, through the photosynthesis. Okay, and the next step is carbon move from plants to animals when they eat it. And the third step what we are going to discuss is this carbon moves from plants and animals to soils. When these plants and animals die, the carbon that make up their bodies, the body mass of the plants and animals, decays in the ground through microorganisms, okay, like such as bacteria. So there are a lot of microorganisms in the soil which all contribute towards the decay of their dead animal parts and plant parts, which contributes the decay of plants and animals in the soil, and which releases carbon dioxide, so the carbon in the soil. Some is buried and will become fossil fuels after pressurized in the drastic situation in the earth. It pressurized by the different sources of energies from the earth. It goes to, after millions of years, the fossil fuel comes. So the carbon moves from plants and animals to soils. I'm repeating, carbon first moves from atmosphere to plants through photosynthesis. Carbon moves from plants to animals by the decay. Then the third chain plants move, the carbon moves from plants to animals. The carbon that is in the plants moves to the animals when they eat them. Okay. Next, the carbon moves from plants to animals to the soils when they die and decayed by microorganisms. The second last step is carbon moves from living things to the atmosphere. Each time you exhale, you are releasing carbon dioxide to the atmosphere. Animals and plants also need to get rid of carbon dioxide gas through the process called respiration. Carbon also moves from fossil fuels to the atmosphere when fuels are burned. When human burns fuels through industries, and example cars and trucks also, and power plants and various industries, petroleum industries and metal industries and gaseous industry, any kind of industries which burns carbon fuels and which gets the carbon dioxide in the atmosphere. So each year about 5.5 billion tons of carbon dioxide are released by burning fossil fuels. So the final is the carbon also moves from the atmosphere to the seas, the oceans, the water bodies. The ocean is a sink to the carbon dioxide which is in the atmosphere. The most of the oceans absorbs carbon dioxide through gaseous exchange processes. Okay, the oceans and the other bodies of water absorb some carbon from the atmosphere. That is under investigation. If you check through the internet, you can find a lot of resources which explains the movement of carbon to the seas from the atmosphere. The carbon is dissolved into the water. Marine animals are able to use this carbon to build their skeletal materials. So when you write the carbon cycle for the examination, you need to point out all these points. So basically it starts from photosynthesis, and you need to write as carbon as a title. Carbon moves from the atmosphere to plants, and then carbon moves from plants to animals, and then carbon moves from plants and animals to soils by decaying using microorganisms. Then carbon moves from living things to the atmosphere back. Then carbon moves from fossil fuels to the atmosphere when fuels are burned. These are all the cycles in which carbon is circulated throughout the atmosphere. So this is a very good question. It can be asked in several ways, giving case studies or so, and we have a lot of command words for questions. So these questions can be twisted and asked in several ways. I hope you got some information. Please comment what you need from NEBOSH International Diploma syllabus or NEBOSH National Diploma syllabus or any other environmental impact assessment, health and safety questions. If you have, please comment. I will be happy to answer all of you. Thank you very much for listening. See you in the next video.